I love the boat. I love how she looks. They're really magnificent, the way they go through the water. It's a deal. Whoever said that being bigger is not better, they're wrong. Hi there, this is Captain Q and my old sailing buddy Randy. Join us as we travel hither and yon as we look for some great deals on classic boats and learn a little with each one.
Captain!
How are you? Welcome to Warwick, Rhode Island.
Ooh.
And we're actually feel like we're in the Antarctic here, doesn't it?
It's pretty
Look
cold.
at the snow here. Oh my gosh. We've stumbled into another really kind of interesting find. Now the owner of the boat is related to a gentleman who was born in 1874, Ernest Henry Shackleton. He was one of the most amazing explorers in the last few hundred years. Unbelievable. And the events that led to his extraordinary escape from the Antarctic, you just have to read the book. And there are a number of books out there, but I recommend Endurance, which happened to be the name of the boat. And he took these two boats, and one was going to go to one side of Antarctic, the other one go to the other side. And he was going to walk across, leave Endurance, and get on Aurora and sail home. Well, he sailed down there, got into the Weddell Sea, and suddenly they got caught in an ice floe, and it crunched the boat. And he had all the men, 28 men, get off the boat. They took three of their lifeboats, put those over the side, and they dragged them, hundreds of miles across ice floes. And they did that for about 2 months. And then finally the ice floes broke up, and they climbed into those three boats, and they then sailed for a place called Elephant Island, which was a little less than 400 miles away. Shackleton said, okay, 6 of us are going to sail up to South Georgia, which is a whaling station, only 700 miles more. Finally gets to South Georgia Island, but he lands on the wrong side of the island. He has to climb over a, 3,000-4,000 foot cliff mountain and then slide down into the town of South Georgia, and they survived. The boat we're going to look at today belongs to a progeny of Ernest Henry Shackleton. His name is Clay Shackleton. He's had the boat for about 10 years. A 1982 Gulfstar 60. Now this is the second biggest boat we've looked at. The biggest was the Expedition. I think she was, 64 feet?
64, yep.
Gulfstar started out building some really strange boats that were, they thought they could make it either a motorboat or a motor sailor. And I don't think either design worked out very well. And they said, heck with that, let's design a real boat. And they came up with a Gulfstar 50. Have we heard about those?
We did. Calypso.
Calypso, exactly. So they made a bunch of those. And then following that production, they started on the 60s. And they made 15 of these. It carries a big rig, 47-foot waterline. She's about 60,000 pounds, about 18,000 pounds in ballast. Speaking of ballast, with the 50s and the 60s, it's solid lead. This boat also is a centerboarder. So we're not just looking at this long, narrow keel that we normally see, but we're going to she's going to draw about 12 feet with the board down.
Oh, wow.
And really give her some windward capability.
How about with the board up?
She's probably about 6 feet. Let's go take a look at this. We've got a good Gulfstar skeg and rudder arrangements. This thing is like rock. She's been out sailing for 40 years. There's been no record that we know of at this point of having major damage or any problems with any of her structures. So we like this. It's a good working cruising rudder skeg combination. It's not going to stall out easily, and it's deep enough.
What do you mean by stall out?
Well, when a boat starts to sail up to windward, it's like an airplane. An air can blow up and it can lose pressure on the tops of its wings, and it doesn't get the lift anymore, and it will just drop out of the sky. Well, this can do sort of the same thing, where you're heeled over so much, and it's trying to push up into the air, into the wind so much, that you'll suddenly lose a bite with your rudder. But this rudder is so deep, you're not going to have that problem. And you know what this is?
No.
This is an official Paul E. Luke propeller, and it's kind of big and bulky and geared up. And you might kind of say it's a little funky and not as slick as some of the new ones. But when it turns sideways, there you go. Flat surfaces, and it's not going to stop any water. This might be maybe one of the owner's son's school projects, possibly. Look at these barnacles.
It's kind of a farm.
We'll take a look along the other side of the boat here for a second. There's not too much to see on this. We've seen a lot of bottoms. She has very full bilges, so she's going to have plenty of room for her tankage. She carries about 300 gallons of water, and I think it's 250 gallons of fuel. Plenty to go as far as you want. And she has a 200 horsepower motor. This is a 60-foot boat. For some reason, I don't know, does it feel like 60 foot to you down here?
Kind of feels like the Puffin to me.
Yeah, almost like 42 feet, but
Right.
It's definitely 60 feet. A lot of good lateral surface here. She's got a centerboard buried underneath this, inside this keel. And this is one heck of a boat. The hull we're looking at is balsa cord, fiberglass. And one thing I'm seeing here too, there's no sign of any blistering. The very early Gulfstars had a real problem with the polyester resin they were using. They didn't have access to the vinyl ester. And so a lot of the boats had major bubbles. Not a lot of through hulls poking through that we see either.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they've manifolded a lot of that or what. I've got one down here, one of our little buddies. And that's going to tell him how fast he's going, right? We have one of our favorite colors here.
Ooh.
Flag blue with a white boot top.
Oh,
and I think I see a gold cove stripe up there. We got a big hole here. And that's our bow thruster. Okay. It's got two separate blades, one to send you one way, one to send you the other way.
Is that pretty common on these bigger boats?
Probably getting more and more so all the time. It is easy. I kind of scoffed at it, frankly, because the PB was, we were 8 feet shorter, but I could back that around in its own space practically, just with an old-fashioned rudder and tiller and backing and filling. It didn't ever feel the need. But a couple of years ago, we did charter a little 44-foot, 42-foot boat up out of in the Cape Cod area, and we sailed the Elizabeth Islands, and then had a bow thruster on it. And I have to admit, standing there, just backing that boat in someplace, and the wind starts to catch your bow, and so you go, whoop, you push the little button, suddenly it straightens the whole boat out. They're kind of nice to have.
How do you like the shape of this 4-foot?
Let me, if I can pick this up just a little bit for you, so you can see. She's rounded up high, and then fines out a little bit down in here, and then the bilges slack out a little bit, and you've got plenty of bilge room.
So you'd classify this as a musher?
Yes, this would definitely be a musher, a serious musher, yep. I'm really kind of excited to get topside. You want to get up there now?
Yeah, let's get out of the snow.
We love the subscribers.
Yeah, more subscribers means that we're going to get recommended to more people, and so that helps spread the love and spread the word about old classic boats and what we're doing, so every little bit helps.
Thanks again. Hey, Randy, come on up on deck here, buddy. Get ready to feast your eyes on this puppy.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, now this is not a racing boat, but it's set up for comfortable cruising. Adequate size winches. These Lumar 77s are brutes, and one thing I noticed is they're not electrified, and that might be a nice addition sometime for the person that buys this. This is a massive cockpit here, really giant size. And when we look at big cockpits, there's always a first question is, what if that big wave comes up behind you and just dumps itself into the cockpit? How fast will it drain? Well, the footwell here is fairly shallow, and you'll notice that there are 4 big drains in all corners. And we don't see that very often. There's no bridge deck in front of the companionway, but you would, if you're in sort of questionable weather, you would most likely close those doors off. Folding door that works like that. Oh, there we go. We've got, how much beyond me? Another foot or so?
Another foot, yep.
So we've got 7-foot long seats here, and there's 2 of them, of course, one on each side. And this big area up here for the helmsman to find out a comfortable seat for when he wants to steer the boat, or if he wants some of his grandchildren up there with him, having some fun moving the boat away and learning how to sail. What's our beam on this boat?
16 feet.
You got it. The rig is set up. It has a stow boom right here, and so dumping the sail or getting it rolled up is going to be a simple issue for you. It has a massive boom vang forward. You notice this puppy?
Oh yeah.
Right here?
It's about the biggest vang I've seen.
That's a serious vang right there. There's a little control panel here, and this is set up to control your backstay or any other hydraulics on the boat. Behind the helmsman, we have all the stuff you need. the Raymarine full scale. There's going to be GPS and radar on here, and you've got a Simrad readout on one side and a Raymarine probably wind speed and all the different apparent wind direction. Look at these engine controls. Yeah, big white face so you can see what the engine RPM are, your oil and water temperatures.
We haven't seen that right at the helm, I don't
No,
think.
we have not. And here's our new favorite toy that we've given into.
Yep.
The bow thruster. We have a massive Edson wheel, nice bright Ritchie compass. I am 40 feet from the bow, so I'm on a 40-footer right now. And I've got total clear visibility through a very flush deck. And it's a great design, I think. Now there's just a very nice locker with all your essential keys to open up different water tanks, oil tanks, your winch handles. What I'm sitting on here is teak. Teak with thiacol in it, the good old standard. And you see the bongs and plugs, they're all sort of okay. But as we look around the boat, there's some wonderful looking oil teak all over the rest of the decks, isn't there? But you know, we don't see any bungs, do we?
No.
So you know what this is? This is not teak. This is all faux teak. And it looks fantastic. And you can scrub it all you want. With regular teak, if you scrub it too much, you take all that nice soft meat out of the wood.
I'm seeing a few extra circles here. Does this mean this came as a catch or a yawl option?
Yes, apparently we know that this boat was available as a catch or as a sloop. These are just the old pads that would have been in use to control all the sails involved with the catch. Well, here's a garage I don't want to fall into. Look at the depth of this. It's got to be, 4 or 5 feet down there almost. It's got shelving for things. It's very neat and tidy to hook up your electric shore power lines.
Got another little side locker here. This must be gas over here.
It's got 2 canisters or 1 canister?
One big boy.
Okay, 1 big boy, and I have one on this side too. Those are bigger than 20 pounds, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like a 30 maybe.
Now, we've talked about the hydraulic gear forward. Here it is right here. Here's your hydraulic backstay. When you pump that lever up by that little control panel in the cockpit, that'll pull down this whole backstay and it'll put a load up on the mast, and it will also tighten up the headstay so that you can sail the boat to weather a little better. There's a couple of big exercise balls, it looks like, on board, but you take that ball out of there and what do you have?
You've got a beautiful little seat.
Oh, come on forward.
All right, I'll meet you up there.
In the old days, when we were still changing headsails all the time, we weren't living with roller furling, you'd need a hatch this size to get these sails down. But today, we have roller furling units right here, like this one right here. I don't know whose this is offhand. Oh, it's a Schaefer, good. Look at the size of the roller furler on the bow.
Massive.
We have a Maxwell capstan up here that is going to be electric. And here's 2 switches, and it's probably up and down switch.
Is there a deck wash here for hosing down the chain?
It's a good question. I don't see one offhand, but that doesn't mean it's not here. Wait a minute.
Oh.
There we go, it's right there.
Yeah, all right.
You're going to put a hose right on that cap. That's got a standard regular garden hose. Look at the combings on this boat.
What are they, like 5 inches by 2?
I don't know. It's beautifully done, beautifully maintained and varnished on this particular boat. And if we turn around, just take a look aft. We've opened all the hatches on board today. There's plenty of ventilation going to go into this boat.
What do you got here?
That's the drum for the boom furling unit. We've got a line coming down here that leads, where does this one go to?
Back to the cockpit.
Yes, goes back to the cockpit and to that big winch right by the companionway there.
Yep.
And you're going to pull on this to roll it up or to let it back down again.
I don't remember this being on the PB.
No, you wouldn't have seen that on the PB. You know why? We had the luxury of having 2 big sail lockers right in the cockpit of PB. They were 2 separate 8-man life rests. And then we stored them in valises. And we'd put those soft bags right down, open the sail locker, drop it right in. By the way, while we're here, look at the chain plates over here. We're going to see down below how that is glassed into the hull. I think it's time to go below. Randy, come on down, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
This is a little chilly down here today.
Oof.
Under the fair cloud cover, it's like a greenhouse, and it's really nice and cozy on deck, but Below decks here, we're pretty well insulated from the heat, as you would be actually sailing. It's a nice thing to note that this boat's so well insulated that we're cold down here. Look up at the cabin lights there. If you notice, there's no drips, no stains coming down from them, is there?
No.
And that was a part of the problem of some of the original Gulfstars, is that they ports leaked. The boat has reverse cycle heating and air conditioning on the boat. You can see some of the vents right here on this top shelf. This settee I'm sitting on is really very comfortable. This doesn't pull out, but it doesn't have to, because look how wide it is. You notice we have a little mast in here. This is not stepped on deck, it's stepped on the keel. And there's two deck ties there. There's one in front of the mast and one behind the mast, and that's to keep the deck from bowing. Let's take a look at the nav station. We like nav stations, don't we?
We do. Navigassing.
A navigator, yes, you got it. This reminds me of the old roll-top desk, doesn't it?
Yep.
So you can slide that up, or you can close it up for your instrumentation. And here's everything repeated down here that's up in the cockpit. Unfortunately, our scoring system, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think we have a little bit of a loss leader here. Oh, yes. So very nice. I'm right down here close to the cockpit. Got my instrumentation, got my table, and I've also got all the electronics on the boat.
Wow.
Now, that's a pretty exhaustive panel, isn't it? And there's our DC panel down here and the AC panel up here. And the boat comes with an inverter, and it comes with an on-end generator. There are no solar panels on this boat.
Oh, yeah.
And but look at the spaces of flat deck on this boat. You could put, I don't know, 1,500 watts on this deck.
Yeah.
Let me show you this motor room. I think you're going to like this. Now, you step back a minute there. Okay, we just have to lift this up a little bit. And there's a simple little latch here. Okay. Now, we've lifted the companionway. Now, get ready for this, Randy.
All right.
You're going to really like this a lot.
Oh, wow.
There you go. There's a Perkins 6354 200 horsepower diesel engine. Look at the tracing on some of the oil lines or electrical lines down on the side bulkhead down there, and how they're all laid in care. They're not just hanging from the overhead. Now, these bags of Kingsford charquettes you see, they're here to absorb moisture. Bilge pump manifolds, and everything is just so accessible. You could stand down in there and work around the whole engine. Now, right in front of us, we see this pipe that goes down to the centerboard. And this cable here will lower your centerboard right down, and you've got to crank it down. Now, the interesting thing about this is that there is just a hole there for a standard size winch handle. But I don't think they use a winch handle. I'm thinking they might use an electric winch handle. This may be a winner, the Shackleton crest. Facsimile of that, or maybe even that one, may have gone right to Antarctic. We have a galley first here.
Triple sinks.
They've all got drains going too. We can look down and see what they have for drain systems down here. Nope, it all just goes to the bilge. And you can see that those may be water manifolds right there. Cabinetry storage up here with little catches on it. Oh, well.
Oh, wow.
We haven't seen this before, have we?
It's a dinty twofer.
And I look up and look at the varnish in here and the teak.
How often would you need to redo the varnish on the interior?
Well, I never touched the varnish on the PB for 17 years.
Oh.
And I actually there were some little pieces where we did some rework that got touched, but for the most part, no. It's going to keep it dry. It's like your furniture at home. Some light here for the cook to look up and see what the sky's doing, if it's going to rain. Nice big microwave up here. 3-burner stove and oven.
This little step down is pretty neat because it saves your headroom here.
Without my head, it'd be about 6'1" under here, and that's pretty nice. And nice ports right here. Oh, I heard about this. This is an alcohol dispenser.
Whoa.
So if you want to drink, you want to have some gin, you push this button, and it will dispense gin out of here. I don't know all the details on it, but there's probably a whole bunch of lines going down to some sort of bottle holding units down below.
Oh, yeah.
This is a deep freeze. It's off the hinges right now. They're working on that. But look at the fridge here. Check this out. Look at the side. The 2 doors, front opening.
Oh, we got another twofer situation.
And that's an Adler Barber system, which historically ran off the engine. And I'm not certain how it works on this boat. It could even be an updated Adler Barber system that's a 12 volt. Now we're walking on a hallway here. Here we have a nice upper and lower bunk and then a full head with its own shower stall in there. But that's a big space in there. It has its own port light and
Yep.
hatch overhead. Holy smokes. Well, they may have lost points on the chart table, but they got good points on this mirror. Should we give that a try, do you think?
I think it's worth a shot.
Well, I was about to look for a handhold to help myself up here, but I think, you know, under normal circumstances, we can slide our body right in here, and oh. Now, what's important about these berths, I would have a cushion under me, first of all, but look at the space. All right, Randy.
Uh-oh.
Let me out of here. Hold it, there's a problem with this mirror.
You're fogging it up.
Oh, there we go. How's that?
Magical.
Does that just set your heart all flutter? Now we're gonna walk into this hallway here, into the master
Yeah, watch your step there.
cabin. Yes, there's a hole down there. I discovered that earlier. So this is pretty nice. It's at the tail end of the boat. There's no companionway down to it, but this hatch is big enough for me to crawl out of if there should be a fire forward or some reason. There is a nice little seat here, and you can sit down here, take your shoes off, relax and do what you want. And look at this storage underneath this. How's that for tool storage? This would take a cushion. I don't see one around. I don't know if they've put a cushion, but this could be an extra berth. Right in front of me here, they didn't short the captain very much with this design, did they? Watch out, there's a hole in the floor here. But we have the master head with a
nice.
giant-sized stall shower.
Oh.
Look at that. And they put a hand railing around it so you could not fall down one. But this also serves as a bathtub.
Oh, nice.
You see, it's so deep here, and you could fill that right up, and there'd be a place to sit down. There'd be a very shallow one. But if you wanted what do they call it? A sit bath?
A little soaking tub?
Soaking tub, right, exactly. You could have one that's almost 18, 20 inches deep.
You know, I got a tip from our friend Moses.
From Moses.
He said when you want to do laundry, you fill that up, you throw your clothes in, go for a sail.
Just let it just slosh around.
Yeah.
Great idea. So we got a nice china sink here. We do have an electric toilet. We like that. Oh my gosh, Randy, you have the eyes of a hawk. This is like the big screen 60-inch TV at home. And these guys get their own hanging locker too, right? Look at all the stuff you can hang in there. All right, Randy, we're back to the saloon, the entertainment center. I think we have a wine storage section down here. It's all sort of discombobulated, but there's a place you could put a few bottles of wine. A little ice maker down here. That's very nice, you see?
Yeah.
And there's a drawer here probably for some bar tools or so.
Now,
And then we got this
this
bowl here. Now,
a chamber pot? That could be Shackleton's chamber pot.
This may be Shackleton's original chamber pot. Take a look to starboard, and another good-sized head. This is going to be for another guest. Now look at this nice little cabin here with good-sized upper and lower berths and so forth. This is a long boat.
This is big.
Very long boat. Here we are up in the forward cabin. Big V berths. Chain locker is forward. And on this side, they have a nice storage section here. So it's a really nice big double V berth. And it's not a V berth. Something's going on underneath here. They've got drawer storage here too. Oh, you're gonna,
I'm gonna.
so I gotta clear a space up here? Is that what I gotta do?
Yeah, you've got a heated vest.
All right.
You're fine.
Good night.
Good night.
This is sort of appropriate for what we just did today, isn't it? You see these chunks of ice out here? The forebear of the owner of the boat that we looked at today lived on some of these ice things. Whoever said that being bigger is not better, they're wrong. We were on 60 feet of boat today, and you could take two little Shannon 28s, as I mentioned, and put them together, or two little 30-footer, and you say, oh, I've got a 60-footer here. No, it's not the same. The beam, everything else going into it. Gulfstar really, I think, hit it out of the park with these boats. And when we went below, didn't you feel like this was This was a really top drawer boat, wasn't it? The finish on the wood and so forth. But I love the boat. I really love that boat. I love how she looks. I've seen her sailing. They're really magnificent, the way they go through the water. Okay, 10, she's a floater. We know that's a floater. I'm gonna give it 15 because it's such a good looking boat. We're at 25 already, and it's a deal. This boat's being offered for $298,000. If somebody out there thought they were going to buy a boat this size and they wanted to go to another manufacturer, they're going to spend on a used boat maybe as much as twice or 3 times as much. I'm going to give it another 6. We're going over 30. 31. It's hard to resist bigness. Love the layout, love the staterooms, love the cockpit. I love the visibility, the ease of moving around the boat. With this boat, one nice thing about it is you could literally bring most people's whole families. And you might even have room for grandma.
If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when the next one comes out, please hit the alert bell. And that's not desperate at all. We're having too good a time doing these things, so you can hit the bell or not.
Randy, how would I ever find out what's coming up next?
You can follow us on Instagram here,
Yeah.
or Facebook here. We'll have little previews of what's coming up on our next episodes. A little bit early.
That's pretty cool. Previews. You all join me. I'm going to Instagram right now, and I'm going to find out what's coming up next week. Thank you very much.
You know, Instagram's not a place.